So, ladies and gentlemen, I wholeheartedly welcome you on Inspiring Lives. And as I promised, I bring to you ever inspiring, ever evolving friends of mine to this show about who already have lived a life of ultimate inspiration. And today, I bring to you someone I totally get a lot of inspiration. The man who is completely energy house. He's also known as Tony Robbins of India. And undoubtedly, like Tony, this man has got serious qualities that you would die for. So imagine you could ever break that invisible prison of your mental blocks, of your self doubts, how it would change your reality. And Mr. Amandeep Thind today, the guest with me, has actually proven it to be true. So he's a lead trainer for Tony Robbins in India. And we have seen him addressing thousands of people, giving them the life-changing experience. I personally have been in one of the workshop where he was conducting, and I was so glad, I was so overwhelmed to see the energy, the crushing amount of value he adds in people's life, and his own story. So ever since then, I have this a great crushing amount of respect, love, and admiration for Amandeep Thind. Thank you so much, Aman. We welcome you on show, and thank you for taking time today and being here with us.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Paul. It's a pleasure to be on your show. And I think, we're going to have a great time. Thank you for such a powerful introduction. Now my challenge is, how do I follow up on that phenomenal amount of credibility you've given me? But I will do my best to come close to it. Thank you.
You already live up to the mark. I've been closely observing you, how giving you are, how much value adding you are, and how much you really give your own life to your mentees. I've seen you serving in the single day workshop where people try to really upsell themselves. In that single day webinars and workshops, I've always seen you being so giving and just like sharing all the knowledge, whatever you got. So much inspiration journey. In fact, you already have of your own life. And it gives me goosebumps when I hear all that story, when I recall all your talks, and it just like gives me goosebumps how you have come so far. This is itself so inspiring. And today you are inspiring thousands of lives, and I'm so fortunate today sparing this time with you. All right, Aman, because all of the viewers, in fact, this particular show has been curated with an intention that people, my students, I have a lot of youth students in universities and in school, so they can pick up their own heroes. And the entire show, the real heroes are being captured in the book, which is co-authored by 21 young authors. So they are picking up their own real life heroes from the stories. And I want them not to fancy about Bollywood and Hollywood. I want them to pick up the real people who have real journey, who have overcome their own struggle and have embarked a journey of total inspiration and adding value. So that's how you are here, handpicked, inspiring people on this show. So Aman, I would really want to start the questionnaire which I've created for you, so people can really understand you better. So you had quite a challenging life growing up with a lot of limited resource and limited belief system. And now today you teach people about breaking your invisible prison. You have also lived that life where you have been in that prison for quite a long time. Yeah, so please take our viewers the journey from the Calcutta, how Amandeep is now a man deep. So how the journey all started.
Thank you for that beautiful question. To be able to, revisit my memory lane and go back to that one-room house in Calcutta, where I was born. Having learned so much, and having the wisdom I carry, I see that as a blessing now, but it did not feel and look like a blessing that time. When you are growing up in a one-room house, with a lot of financial difficulties, and your parents, they cannot read and write, they would shy away, from a parent-teacher meeting. And somehow they put me, in a very average English medium school where my sister had to sacrifice because, they couldn't send, both of us. Even sending me was a big challenge. They took some loan from the neighbors, from relatives, and somehow they managed, to send me into a private school where I could learn English and I could be this international trainer speaker who you admire, and the people, who admire who I teach. So yeah, we had a lot of difficulties, but I think, they were not my personal challenges. If you look at it, a child doesn't worry about a living. Child doesn't worry about, renting a house or something like that, or buying a house. My challenges were a little different, growing up in one room house. I was a bit overweight. When I say a bit, I played a bit small, but I was pretty chubby as a child. It was a cuteness for the first maybe 2-3 years, but then it became a challenge, later on. I was getting teased, around the peer group I was in. And my biggest pain, my biggest challenge. I'm a part of this amazing country we all belong from, incredible India. Well, I relocated to London, but my heart is always Indian. I'll die as an Indian when I know that for sure. In incredible India, there are a bit of different challenges we face. I'm a mixed child. My father is Punjabi, very fair in complexion. My mom is Bengali. जैसे अपन हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, काफी सांवला रंग था उनका, very dark in complexion. And I'm a fusion of north and east. So I grew up with the understanding from the people around me that there is something wrong with me, as a human being, that I'm not pure enough as a human being. And I had a lot of different questions, to God, that why have you made me this way? Why I can't be normal like the other kids around me? So I was getting, bullied and abused and discriminated for being from a certain origin, and the way I looked and the way I spoke. And those challenges became so big inside my head because all those voices were not my voices. I grew up loving myself in the first 7-8 years maybe, but later on I started hating myself for the person I am. And we cannot change who we are. I did not realize that, but when I was 16, I wanted to commit a suicide. I saw some Bollywood movies at my neighbor's house, and I figured out the easiest way to commit a suicide is to cut your nerve in the middle of the night. And when people wake up in the morning, you will be gone. So yeah, I attempted a mild suicidal, attempt, which I'm not very proud of, but I talk about it now. It's a deep, dark, part of your life which you don't talk about. And on that journey, somehow through a company called Amway, I got introduced to a personal development. I read 2 books in the beginning. One was How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie, and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And my whole world opened up, to the possibility of being whatever you want to be. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your skin color is, what language you speak. It doesn't define your future. And on that journey, I read Tony's book through some other training I was doing in Delhi in 2003. And when I came to the UK in 2006 under a scholarship through my cousin, I happened to, land up on a marketing campaign, went for Tony's event, UPW, in 2007, and made a decision, to go on a journey to inspire others so that they can see the immense potential they carry, for the person they are. So yeah, that's how the journey, unfolded for me to be the trainer I am today.
See, that's what I said. When I look up to your life, it really gives a complete example of, miracle. It really gives a complete example of self-belief. And it also gives a true example of how you could really have the brilliance in your own life, how you could emerge as, a brilliant example in front of all the world. So proud of you. I mean, when I really look up to you, I get a lot of learning every time. Even just like your any video which is passing by or any quote which you write, it has so much deep meaning that it always gives us great learning. So I always have your example quoting to my students in universities and college. Perhaps anytime you land up going to MET or you go to Manavrachna or you go to YMCA, people would already know you. This is how I've been really, looking up the real inspiration and quoting them in my real stories. So thankful to you for being you, the authentic you. So what was, how come this has changed from being suicidal to the most loved, most inspired, and most like admired coach today in the world? So what was the psychology which actually worked? Was it just the 2 books reading which given you a new dimension of life? Or has it started something that you were like enough with that prison and you wanted to break free now? So what was that psychology?
There have been, few moments of aha, like light moments, few moments of breakthroughs. But the couple of big highlights, where I think I would like to recall my experience at UPW. When I attended in 2007, I was still figuring out myself. I was still probably aiming for maybe a small next step, maybe not a very big next step. And doing one of the processes, with my teacher Tony, I realized the person you got to fall in love. Rather, I like to say, what? Sometimes it's not the best way to say fall in. Not falling is best, but rising in love with is you. And that was maybe the biggest changing life moment for me, where I made peace for the person I am. I've got no problem right now, being in my skin, the way I look, the way I smell. But before that, I was always conscious. And am I smelling okay? Am I talking okay? Am I doing the right etiquettes? Being in an English environment, of eating with, I don't know, spoon and shit. And if I can eat with my hand, and can I, tuck my shirt a little bit when I'm in an interview, or can I, scratch here? I'm not saying I would do that, but I'm saying, what? Can I now can be very comfortable being myself. Whatever you perceive of me is not a problem of me anymore. What I perceive of myself is the biggest problem I have, in my life right now. and I am madly deeply in love for the person I am. I look at myself in the mirror and I smile at myself and say, you know what, man, you are the best human being ever born on planet Earth. And if I can see the beauty in who I am, I see it everywhere around me. So I would suggest, I think, yeah, that was one of very big highlights of my life, that I realized that I got to be comfortable in my skin and love myself for the person I am, for my voice, for my looks, for my heights, for my skin color. Everything, about me is just magical, just the way it is for you and for every listener right now. You are a magical human being, and you were exactly been born at the place, with the surroundings, with the family, with the environment you're supposed to be, so that you can take your journey further. Yeah, I think that's my biggest, highlight, a biggest lesson I teach, biggest lesson I carry every single day in my life.
Wow. So exactly, if I sum up these, so you just change your thought and it changes your reality. So exactly that's what, you've been changing your voices, and that voices which were like not at all helping you, and then you changed it to some voice which now adds so much value, not only in your life, but see the lives of others, which adds like so much value, so much spark in others' life. I mean, people look up to you and they say, oh, if you can do it, we also have a chance to. We could also come out from our own zone. Very good,
Well,
Aman.
see,
Thank
I
you so
mean,
much.
thank you for adding that, and triggering my mind with a very powerful principle or belief I have in life now, that there is no poverty, in the real world. There is no poverty. The only poverty human being can have, even if they're born in Vietnam, Pakistan, I don't know, Bangladesh, doesn't matter, wherever they are born, they can change their reality. The only poverty people can have is disempowerment. If you can empower, every human being on planet Earth, we would not have any crime, we would not have any financial problems, we would not have people feeling left out. If you can be empowered, you can have the life you design.
So well, exactly. This it's really it's a nugget of wisdom which I just absorbed from you, and I'm sure this seed I'm going to use it, quoting your name again in some of the stories.
Go ahead.
I mean, tell me. You are among very few and exceptional people I see on the stage radiating so much energy. When I first heard the advertisement, Tony Robbins of India, I really so was fascinated. You know what? I have to just see. Because I ever had encountered an experience with Tony 10 years back, or perhaps in Singapore. He was not there in India. So I really wanted to see you, and you really reflected so much like energy, so much aura, so much positivity. Like every time you just stand on the stage, there is a magic creation in that entire zone, you see. So the people are hooked into your story. People are just so engrossed. They are just seeing the realities which you are trying to show. Tell me, how could you build, as a trainer, so much ultimate clarity in your life? And as a coach, you have to be torch bearer also for your mentees to follow, right? So how does, a normal human being build clarity in their life? Most of them are not successful because there is no clarity. Yeah. So please share your expertise.
I think clarity is a vast world you have to go in to figure out what you really want to do. Uh, I cannot pinpoint one thing which will bring clarity, but I can tell you one thing. Doing things would lead you to closer to the thing you want. It's good to do something and figure out that this is really you don't want, so that you can lead to where you really want to go. And then there is another question, a technical question you can use on a regular basis, which is that there are two, three facets, of this question. The question is like, by the way, every human being has got a PhD in imagination. The only challenge is, that imagination is more on the negative side, or on shitty side, rather than the empowering or exciting side of what life can give you, or possibly what can happen. So coming back, we all have great imagination. If you wake up tomorrow morning, if you're listening to this right now, what I did, many years back, that if there is no failure in my life, let's imagine if there is no failure in my life, what is that I would like to really do in an effective and productive way, which will obviously bring in a living for me, and at the same time will impact other people's life. Because deep down, we all human beings are designed to help others, to share with others, make other people's feel good about themselves. That's what we are at a deeper level. But when our insecurities play on us, and we play small, we make everybody uncomfortable around us. So coming back, first, obviously, keep doing it, and then you will figure out. Because I have still a few friends or clients, let's say, they haven't yet exactly figured out what they really want to do, but they have figured out at least three things they don't want to do after doing it. So keep doing it. And the second thing, is that question, that if there's no failure in my life, or money is no more a concern. Let's say, you wake up tomorrow, you inherit, some kind of old property or old business, and every single month, if your expenses is, let's say, for 50,000 rupees is been paid for the rest of your life. What is that you will really do? I mean, sometimes people get this question wrong. They say, in a cheesy way that, oh, I would do nothing, sir, sit, watch movies. That's the hardest thing to do, by the way. You can never watch movies throughout your life. Your life would not have any meaning. You won't feel any fulfillment inside you. You can do it for a few days to a few weeks. That's fine. But coming back, if there is no failure, money's no more a concern, what is that you really would like to do? And if you answer that question in all honesty, I think, answers will come out of you, and you will lead to a place where maybe you will doing an interview with somebody called Pearl Behel or Priyanka Behel, and you will be, sharing your wisdom of life because you have done something which is, people say, what, that is amazing. You came from a one-room house, now you're an international speaker, trainer, coach, author. Maybe that was a great journey. So your journey is, I believe, everybody's story needs to be shared. Everybody has a very powerful story to share. It's just that they need to how to weave it together and make it, so much worthy that people like to listen to that story. So coming back, one aspect I would say, keep doing it until you're not sure as to what you really want to do. And the second, be honest about the answer, that if money was not a concern, if failure is not a concern, what is that you really would do in a productive, effective way, which will impact or touch other people's life? I think you will get the answers, on the journey.
Wow, that was deep. In fact, I remember there were forms in your trainings, during the workshop, Success Mastery, which also had a questionnaire like that. I remember now, recollect that thing I just mentioned. That's beautiful, Aman. Okay, please tell us, like, when you start leading somebody on the journey of self mastery and brilliance. So how do you do as a programming in those minds to come and then emerge in their brilliance? So what are the ways you program people? Because everybody has a different needs when we talk about, right? Every human has a different need. So what are the basic principles, basic things which you have found with people who make their success journey so phenomenal? And there are people who have all the resources perhaps in their life, but still they cannot make the best out of it. So how do you program those minds?
Well, you trigger, a great thought about a distinction, I learned from a mentor many years back, and he shared that, it's never about the resources. It's about how resourceful you can become. And I'm very proud, that I've created a game around that. I don't know I think you played that game, pay to win. When you came to Success Mastery, people realize, the power of focus. Then they go on to doing exactly opposite to what they were taught, because it was just a learned information on the surface. When you start going deeper, that's like, it starts becoming a second nature to you. Like, for somebody who is a bit far away on this journey, or maybe a lot far away from this journey, sometimes people cannot perceive, conceive, and receive the information to that level where they have to receive, because we have many layers, in our subconscious brain. Now, very quickly, we have two parts of our brain, conscious and subconscious. Some call the subconscious to be unconscious. I like to call it subconscious because I think there's some life to it. And a lot of our life, runs on an autopilot from our subconscious experiences from the past. We all have been bumped, bruised, and hurt, on this journey. And we pick up those experiences to make present decisions. And if we keep doing that, our life is not going to change. So coming back here, when clients come to our events, live events, physical room when it used to happen, and now it's a virtual platform, which we do on Zoom. This is what I do, I like to get the answers out of my students. So I create enough situation around them so that they can hit the head on the wall, not one, maybe not twice, maybe three, maybe four, maybe 10 times before they think, what, I got the answer. Now I understand that I'm not doing it. This is good to know information. Knowledge is not power. When I pick that knowledge up and experience it and apply it in my life, I will get power. So yeah, one way we do is games. They are designed very, very smartly. When people play, the real character comes out. They get lost in the game. They don't understand, where this game is going in terms of the deeper layer of learning is concerned. Second, we bring metaphors. Like, I think you were in Success Mastery. I don't know if you did the one with the firework or not, but finally we figured out a way,
I actually came for firework. That was the only attraction, because that's what I did 10 years back in Singapore. But then firework was in evening, and then I had my sessions in the evening, here with my existing students. So I had to just like leave that. And I still miss that moment, honestly.
Okay, so you did the firework, or you couldn't do the firework?
I couldn't do in India here, but yes, with Tony, I've done it in like 10 years back in Singapore.
Got it. Okay. So anyways, you can come back whenever the live events, opened up. So one aspect is firework. We make people work on the fire so that people can look back and see, what, if I can walk on fire, what else can I do? And I do that because the same happened for me in 2007 when I walked on fire for the first time. um I'll be honest, I was very scared to work on fire. I mean, it feels great to talk about it right now, but I can tell you the emotions I was going through, when Tony said, okay, take off your shoes, take off your socks and get out. I thought, he's just building up like normal trainings. But when I literally went out, I saw the fire bells, and I said, who the hell would work on this? But anyways, the whole group energy, the power of the whole dynamics gets you to it. So when I walked on fire, I looked back and I said, you know what, Amandeep, if you can walk on fire, what else can you do in your life? And that's what we co-create for our attendees, to see, if they can walk on fire, what is this waiting for them? So we use many metaphors. We got other trainings like Discover Your Brilliance, where the people do glass work. Then we do arrow breaking, board breaking, break breaking, depending on the program. So one of the metaphors, this is how we help people change their programming. And there's always one thing I remind my students is that repetition creates mastery. And I always give the example, of a thick rope. It took you 30 years, 25 years, 20 years, or 35, 40 years to think in a certain way. It will take you minimum 35 months or 40 months or 50 months to think in a little different way. Little, see, it doesn't say completely different, because you have to go on a journey to keep breaking, a one thread at a time, because you cannot break the rope in one go. And that's what happens for a lot of people. They wake up one day with a great idea for an app, for a website, for a business, for a relationship, and they want to completely change it. And they make all the effort, in their honesty to break it. But it is so strong, no human being can break that rope in one go, because it took 30 years to build it up. So you have to do, is break a thread at a time. And if you keep breaking the thread at a time, a day will come when you will be able to, break that limiting belief completely. Like, I mean, being a taxi driver's son, for me to be an international speaker, is an immense achievement in my understanding. Okay. People can't comprehend, my father, mother, they don't speak English. I come from a family where far off, nobody speaks English. I lived in a village where at least 10 villages people would come to get the letters read, to get the letters written, because I was the only guy during that time who could pretty much read English and write English. So coming back from that space to where I go in front of Western people, I had a lot of fear, how would the white people understand what I'm speaking? Even if I'm speaking in English, it could be very heavy accent for them. So I worked on my accent, my elocution, my voice. And then eventually, when I kept doing it, a day came that it kind of became a second nature for me. I don't have to think about it anymore right now when I'm speaking, with you right now. No script is required when you speak from your life experiences. So coming back, the third thing I would like to share is repetition creates mastery. Just knowing is not enough. They say, what, amateurs, they only practice until they know it. But professionals like you and me, and if anybody's listening, we train, and train is deep practice until we own it. It becomes a second nature for us.
Wow, thank you so much. One thread at a time. I take this deep learning with me today. But Aman, how is like a man deep? That's how you put your name as Aman Deep, as like a man who's deep. Exactly, you are a man deep. Please share your daily self-improvement, routine, which help you discover your brilliance. So I'm sure you have also been breaking this one thread at a time. So the self-improvement, and you are kind of guy. I have never seen you someone who would just like waste time for even fraction of second. So there would be complete intentions what I want to create out of that moment, right? So what are your self improvement routines, which are even today you follow it by your own life, like inside your own life?
Well, I just want to quickly pre-frame the listeners. Coming from a very humble background gives you this hunger. So if you had gone through immense challenges, I think you got a big hunger inside you to become a better version, and prove it to the world that you can do it too. Everything is possible. So that's a good thing. At the same time, you got to be okay sometimes to relax and enjoy and have fun. Something most Asians learn the hard way is to relax completely and let go. But just coming back, to your question, there are a few rituals I'm proud of. From a health perspective, I can talk about a few things. Like I don't have any breakfast culture in my life for almost 10 years now. And there's a whole deep meaning reason to it. I know there is a whole old belief that you should eat breakfast like a king and the dinner like a beggar. That's completely opposite. Okay. And I'm not going to go into the depth of the whole aspect, but understand when you wake up in the morning, your body, slowly needs to gear up to a certain level. And if you can keep your stomach empty as much as possible in the morning, it's a great thing. So for us, there is no breakfast culture in the house, even with my wife, and my daughter pretty much. And we do our best to reach to almost midday before we start eating something. and that's like almost 14 hours of gap, before like the dinner we ate at the night, and then we start eating the daytime. Secondly, we don't drink water, any liquid with food. And sometimes if you ever get invited to my house, or if you are around London and you come to my place, and if you have a habit to drink water with your food, please don't, you won't offend us if you ask us for water, because sometimes what happens, the guest sits with us, they eat the whole food, and then we realize, oh God, we haven't given them water, because they're used to drinking water. There's nothing wrong. If you're used to something, it takes a while, to get over it. And I think the biggest ritual I have in my life is that I realize that my brain is, wired in a certain way, that I love to observe communication. I always look at an aspect of how this can be said better, how you can frame the question more effectively in a powerful way, that most people can open up. And when people can open up, you can actually do great work with them, like to make them better. Is only when people shut down, it's very difficult to teach them and take them on a higher level. So most days, I sit with my slides. I can get lost in my slides. Like, it's very difficult to explain, but my wife probably would be the best, person to say, like, she knows what goes, in my brain. And most of the time she understands that I haven't heard what she said. I just say, which means it's not a yes. It means I'm lost in my slides. And I'm looking, at certain things, how to say this, how to bring this analogy, how to build the story up, how to put this video in, how the font can make an impact, what else can go in here. Every minute detail of communication, one-to-one and one-to-many. And obviously for me first, and then at the same time, how can my students take this and become better communicators, and they can have the spotlight on them. And that's what, by the way, I do. I let my students have the spotlight so that I can be the background now, because I've done enough stage, for more than 11 years now. I've done 500 plus workshops, 300 for Tony, 200 plus for myself. And now I think I'm on a mission to create, effective communicators, because I think communication is almost like breathing. Every moment we are communicating. Even when you're sleeping, you have got dreams, So your subconscious brain is communicating at a whole different dimension. And if you can have empowering dreams, I think, you will wake up much empowered. And if you can have empowering communication with yourself and with others, I think your life can be enriched in many special ways. So these are a couple of the rituals, and I can go on and on. I've got few other rituals, which I do, but those are the few I can talk about right now.
All right. I have this beautiful friend. Thanks, Michelle Maras. She herself is an international coach, global mentor, and author of many books. And she's herself a very, very, very inspiring journey. She had been my guest, and this, comment come from her. She's been really loving your interview. Thank you so much, Michelle, for being with us. Thank you, Swarleen. Thank you, Daksh, for being with us today. All right. Tell me one thing. The tools and techniques which can take a person from shaken to unshakable, the tools which we can have in our own life. We just don't need a coach. We just implement those tools other than the empowering conversation. What are those tools?
So what are the tools which can give us empowerment on a regular basis? Is that correct? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, okay. It is correct.
Okay, great.
I'm asking it from a point of view of youth, because we have a lot of youth who are directionless these days. And I really want expert like you to just give them this thing so that they can take great learning from it and can implement in their life.
Okay. I would talk about few, whatever comes to me right now. And I believe, that angels flow through you and you become the medium for people to hear what they have to hear to change their life. So I trust, my angels to come and support me. Maybe one is sitting on this side and one is sitting on this side and giving me the prompters right now. So this side angel is giving me this prompter called what I am focusing on right now. So next time, I have a challenge. I have something big to do in my life, because the regular things we do, we become comfortable in that. There is no challenge, like, I don't know, brushing our teeth is something subconscious. You don't have to think about, oh, how do I brush now? Okay. But yeah, let's say if you haven't spoken, in front of an audience and somebody says, okay, like Priyanka, you give a call to somebody, a youth of 16-year-old saying, you know what, you're going to be my next guest. There's a panel of speakers coming and you'll be one of the speakers. Let's say, as an example. So now when that situation happens and you have not spoken before, but obviously you have been given the blessing, to have fame and to go and impact people. Most people, I can tell you from my experience, because I was there myself, maybe 12, 13, 14 years back, is that, oh shit. But if you can, right, and for that, obviously, you have to be very conscious. If you can be, this is the question I like to give, to my students, is that what I'm focusing on right now. I literally did a work with somebody, one client once, many years back. He was from Germany, and he wanted a quick fix because he had to give a presentation. Like when we do these trainings, people wait for the batch to form up, few weeks to few months. But he had a corporate kind of a requirement, and somebody told him, that if you want help, then this guy can do a good thing, something with you within few hours. So anyways, coming back, to keep the story short, from the first point onwards, he was saying, "Oh, I've never done presentation, Amandeep. I'm going to do this in XYZ." But you start digging deeper, you realize, there were some kind of school monitor or class monitor or some kind of school people leader. And they did, maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds of public speaking, where they said few things before the teacher came or in the assembly, whatever. And that's all they did. But they never think about that. It's been 20 years, 25 years, they've lost track of it. So even that 20 seconds of public speaking, if you focus on it, it will expand. That's what our brain is designed to do. Whatever we'll focus on a regular basis, it will expand. And I obviously, and I keep talking it a lot, but it happens, let's say if you buy a certain phone, okay, you see more of that phone, everywhere you go. If you buy a certain kind of car, you see more of that car pop up in your reality on the roads and in the parking zone. If you buy a certain kind of, I don't know, book or something, or a laptop, you see more of those laptops people are carrying, or you see more of those people, reading about that book or talking about that book. So your brain is designed in a way that whatever you will focus on will literally expand. It'll become your reality. So the choice is yours. Are you focusing on disempowerment, no jobs, it can't be done? Then obviously that's your reality. Good luck, my friend. But I say, what? If you're focusing on the other side, like me, like, oh, things are possible. There is things happening. Oh, job is there. Oh, I can make it happen. Let me see, what is required to be that speaker. Then that will become your reality. So that's one thing, and I would like to leave the listeners with the question. I always say, what? Take a small sticky note. I did that for many years, and it was in my wallet. Put that question, in a small little card and put it in your wallet, or ladies might be purse, whatever you call it. And every time you have a challenge, bring that note out. And on the second side, of that note, I say, what? Write this down. My environment is more powerful than my willpower. We no more live in the industrial age. I wish we did. And if every year you could get a hike just because you're 1 year old in your business or in your job or in your profession. It doesn't happen that way anymore. An 11 or 12-year-old boy or a girl is a multimillionaire right now because just they know how to operate the digital world. In the digital world, willpower would not be enough. It is required. I'm not saying it is not. It's a very important element, but it will not let you cross the finish line. It may take you close to the finish line in some cases, or halfway through, or doesn't matter. But you will become a product of the environment you surround yourself in. And that's what a gangster is about, And a gangster, they, this is a human need being fulfilled. They think, they're all families. So killing is okay just to get significance, from the group they are in. So if you hang out with gangsters, you will become a gangster. If you hang out with speakers, Pearl, Behel, team, whatever, you will become like a natural speaker. People will feel that way, but obviously they worked on it. So remember, your environment defines a lot about who you become. So be very aware, of the environment you are in. Just like, in our old wisdom in Vedas, they say satsang, sangat, you become like your sangat. So be aware of your environment, and it's everything, not just the people. Even your space, makes a difference. You got to create a zone in your house, which is like a learning zone, which is like an empowerment zone, which is like a thinking zone, which is like a meditation zone. And from there, you must operate. Like, this is my zone. You put me here. Oh, I'm in a whole different game right now. I just step out few steps, from this room. I'm a different human being. I just, my energy shifts a little bit. Okay. So coming back, I would leave, the listeners with two things. One is what you focus on. And the second one, this angel is saying environment is very, very powerful. Okay. So you must be aware of the environment you are in.
Very good. Proximity is power. So the way you surround yourself with your result of the same, exactly. And a lot of thought leaders have said that, mentioned it before, and we realize it. It is actually, it works like the reality. I mean, this is a real tool. We can never choose our parents. Perhaps we can never choose our brothers, sisters, relative, but we always have the choices to make our surrounding right. At least with our friend circle, the people we hang out with, we eventually turn to be the same. Thank you so much. I mean, that's great. And also the focus, which is very important. Energy grows wherever it goes. So wherever we are having a focus, it expands. And I heard that this even recollects me in the success mastery. You quoted this thing, and which really now recollect me to that same memory. All right. See, and that's the reason I'm a good student. See, I took all the learnings with me.
Well, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're not
I'm
a good
becoming the
student.
better.
You are a phenomenal
Okay,
student.
is it?
And we
Oh,
always
thank
have a
you so
choice for
much.
every human
Coming,
being. We always have a choice.
thank you. Coming from you, it really makes my day. Aman, I've listened to that video of yours about the six human needs. And I really, really fallen in love with that information with you, the way you have given it. So I really request you today to please share with our viewers those six human needs and how does it work and how does it help you leverage in your own life.
Well, thank you, for giving me the credit. But obviously, this six human needs, comes from my mentor, Tony Robbins. He talks about it deeply, at Unleash the Power Within. So I'm just doing a quick recollection because when it is not your topic, you need a bit of help. So yeah, the first, need we have is to feel significant. Uh, Sorry, I'll start with certainty. Okay, the first need we have is certainty. Um, it's like we wake up pretty much most days in one context, understanding that we will wake up. Like breathing is like absolutely certain we will breathe. Okay, for most people, most of the time. Let's say you will brush, and then where your car is, where your laptop is, and things like that. So certainty is required in terms, you got to have something where there's a security, there's something you can rely on. But having said that, we also have the other five requirements. Okay, and this is what happens for a lot of people. When they get stuck up in a job or a relationship which is rotten and damaged or disempowering, but they keep going on because they lean on that certainty too much. So leaning on certainty too much is not great. Have you watched any movie more than once?
Not really. I'm not a movie freak, honestly.
Okay, anything
So,
anything you've done maybe
uh,
more than once? Any
yes,
food you have eaten more than once
yes,
at the same
personal
place?
growth videos. Exactly. I watch Power Maker videos a lot, and so I like same video. I would have repeated it many times.
Okay. Is there any favorite food you eat, and you revisit
Yes,
that place? Yeah.
true.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Different experiences, different examples. Either when people repeat the same movie, when they eat the same like food again from the same vendor, they want to how do you say, reignite that taste buds again in their mouth. So that's called certainty. When you go to the certain cook, certain restaurant, certain movies, the sequence, what will follow, what will happen. And that's why people watch the same movie again, eat the same food again, revisit the places, because they want that certainty to be fulfilled. And no matter what happens, you will find ways, to get certainty. That's what happens. Okay, the first need is certainty. The second is uncertainty. Like, we human beings have been given this beautiful range of emotions, like a rainbow, different colors. So if I wake up and every day I know exactly what my life would look like, if I knew when I was 10 years old that at the age of 42 point whatever, 8, I will be giving an interview at 1:15 pretty much UK time to Pearl Bahel, my life would be very boring. If I exactly knew I'm going to fail in my business in the year 2000, when I did my call center stuff, things like that, there will be no charm in life. So the second need, is variety, which is also can be called uncertainty. Oh yeah, people are saying, oh, so that means we have both the needs. Yes, we want certain things, and we cannot. Nothing can be completely certain, by the way, in life. Change is inevitable. They say change is the only thing which is permanent in life. So coming back, yeah, we do need certainty, but we also need uncertainty, and that keeps the flavor going on. Maybe I don't know, how do you say, spices, you put certain and you put like how do you say, a counterpart spices to bring the flavor up. So the second need is uncertainty.
Exactly.
The variety, what is going to happen, the surprise. People say, what, I ask people, do you like surprises? People go like, yeah, I love surprises. And I say, okay, you go back home after this event, your home is blown out with a bomb. People go, no, I don't like that surprises. Okay, we like the surprises which give us pleasure. So coming back, yeah, uncertainty is the second need. The third is, which I think I had a huge lacking for many years because of my upbringing, is significance. We all want to feel significant in our life. We all want to know that we are special. There is something unique about me, that I matter to the people around me, or at least few people, they love me and care for me. That's what, is required. And that was massively missing in my life for me to think about suicide and even attempt it, because I thought, what, there is no meaning in my life. Nobody loves me. I'm just a weight on planet Earth. I'm an impure human being. And that's what happens for a lot of people when people go too deep, into the idea of not having significance in their life. They become depressed, and some go like massively depressed, and then they take up their own life. That's significant. The same is with gangster. I'm already giving an example. Tony gives it. If I take a gun and point at somebody's head, let's say, or somebody does it for you in the marketplace or wherever, you will never forget that person. That person will have a very powerful significance in your life, if you stay alive, by the way, after that incident. So significance will be fulfilled, in different ways. People if they can't find an empowering way, they'll find a negative way. Even people like smoke, they eat certain kind of sweets on regular basis. They're fulfilling those needs. The fourth is love and connection. That's in a point of view of relationships, family, connections with people. We are social beings. Even if we have a certain way of living, we cannot live on our own. We need people like us around us. What about that whole idea of cult getting formed up and religious group getting formed up and all that getting formed up? It's just that people find their likes, and they belong in a tribe, they belong in a group. That's love and connection. These are the four basic needs we human beings have, and we will find ways to fulfill them. And as I already said, we are inclined to find it in an empowering way, but when we cannot find it in an empowering way, we find negative or disempowering ways to fulfill those needs. Eating sugar in the middle of the night or doing shit stuff. The two needs which we have on the top is like fulfilling needs. As Tony says, just success itself is not enough. If you're hollow and a lot of money in your account, it doesn't gives you any pleasure as such. If you want to feel fulfillment, something which you really nurture and cherish and enjoy, then you have to work on the second two like needs on top. Is one is growth. Okay, you got to be constantly learning and growing, and I'm a great learner. That's what keeps my life exciting. That's something I have inbuilt in me. And I keep doing trainings every single year, every couple of months, and it just keeps my world exciting, because I know there is something I don't know, and if I know it, my life will become more enriching. So growth, and growth also involves traveling. When you go to buy new places, you travel. That's a beautiful way of learning, by the way. Giving birth can also be a form of growth. It's a magical spiritual experience for both father and mother. So yeah, growth. The second one, fulfilling need, is contribution. We naturally are designed to do things for others. It's just that when, as I already said, we get insecure, we do stupid stuff, or we think what's not enough for me, so I will hoard. That's obviously natural. That's what human beings would do. That's your tendency to survive. But when it is enough for you, and that's, again, you have to understand how much is enough, because in today's time, greed has got no limit for people. You only need, in my understanding, 2 rotis in lunchtime, or 2 bread in dinner time. You need a house to live in, and maybe in the modern world, a car to drive. That's it, the basic needs. But people keep hoarding, because this whole fear of not having enough. Okay, so coming back, contribution. When you do things for others, you get the magical feeling. And I love what Harb says. That if you love giving but you have problem receiving, you're a selfish person. Because see, when you give, you feel great, but when you have to receive and somebody else has to have the feeling of giving it to you, you shy away, and you take them out of that experience of having that emotion of feeling great about giving something to you. So if you're a great giver, you must be a phenomenal receiver. If you're a great giver, you should be a phenomenal receiver. That's correct. So yeah, by the way, I am a great giver and I'm a phenomenal receiver. So people listening here, you want to send me a gift or kind words or love, just send it to me. I don't mind. And to Pearl as well, for doing such a phenomenal job.
Thank you so much. So see, it's like 50 minutes. I just passed away, and I was so engrossed in your conversation. Every word you're speaking is going to be part of my diary, because I really have this habit of take learning from people. I always see there's so much inspiration around, and I have just one life. I could really take the best out of everyone and just like, beautify my own self. Thank you so much, Aman. This had been the best interview ever. Please share with us, who are the people who have deeper influence in your own life, other than your mentors? If there are someone in the family and the friends, who are those people? Because the mentors, perhaps pretty much, I know Tony Robbins have a great influence in your life. Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
So
Tony definitely, has got a great influence in my life. But it's a great question. I mean, I just revisited my memory lanes, and I learned, almost a decade back that everything is learnable. Even becoming a speaker or becoming rich, becoming more presentable, or becoming a business person, a cricket player, a football player, is just a skill. You can acquire it. It doesn't require any talent. And I went on this journey to learn, that there is something happens in our brain. A circuit gets designed which gets fired very quickly if you repeat the things at a deep level practice. It's not just practice, it is deep practice. When you're in a mentoring coaching environment and somebody's watching you very minutely and giving you the small distinctions, your brain starts circulating something at a very powerful way, that you see things more than others see. Like Virat facing a 150-kilometer cricket ball coming to him, he sees it in a different way than somebody who hasn't got that many thousand hours of drilling that craft. So coming back, I was revisiting my life, and I realized that how do I do such empowering stories. Once I overcame my limiting belief, I saw there was some inbuilt qualities in me about communication, about voicing, about storytelling. And I remember this uncle, his name is Gana Mama. In Calcutta, if somebody is my uncle's age and my uncle's friend, we would pretty much call them with the same relationship. So he was my uncle's friend, my mamaji's friend, and I used to call him Gana Mama. I remember going to my nani's house, and we would not look for our own uncle, but we would look for Gana Mama. Why Gana Mama? Because he was a phenomenal storyteller. He will bring you goosebumps while he would do storytelling. So I maybe observed him at a subconscious level during my childhood time to become a great storyteller one day. I did not do it for many years, but I think I took up some inbuilt qualities of pausing and creating that drama, and then that scene and situations, and painting the pictures and suspense and the twist and the tweak and curiosity, and all of a sudden boom, and we would get scared in the dark of the storytelling situation. So maybe I recollect him as one of my mentors, in a way that I was learning by modeling him in a different way. And then somebody I would like to give credit is my cousin. My father, they are like six brothers and one sister, and they had like 2-3 infants who died. So probably they were 10 brothers sisters. Old ways of Indian family. So when I came to the UK, my cousin gave me a scholarship. I could have never paid £5,000, from my pocket, because I did not have that to pay. I used to work in a call center, and all I did, pay for my flight to come to London. And that's again a different story. I became creative. I flew on a Christmas day to make sure that I get enough discount for my flight. I couldn't be rude enough to tell my cousin to pay for my flight. He paid for my college fees, and I came here. I remember, this is the reason I have got a mantra in my company, the three E's. It's like explore, expand, evolve. Explore is, that you got to be okay to go into the unknown. Until unless you go to the unknown, you will never ever grow. Growth never happens, in the known zone. It happens in the unknown zone. So coming back, my cousin brother would take me at most places. When I relocated to Punjab when I was 16, I hated that for almost 1 year of my life, or 6 months, and I was suicidal, massively that time. But anyways, he came into my life. Every time he would visit, he would take me to all these different high class society people, educators, philanthropists, business people, and just by being around, the way he speaks, the way he conducts, the way he shook his hands, the way he would dress up, the way he will shave, like everything I was observing. And he's my big role model. I call him Ginder Virji. His name is Gurminder Singh Thind. He retired from British Airways. He's almost like my father's age, because my eldest uncle, has a major age difference than my father, who's the youngest in the family. So yeah, Ginder Virji, I look upon him as a role model for him. And finally, one person I would like to mention. Some people know about her, most don't know. I made a friend, when I was getting trained to become a speaker, Sidra Zafri, and we became friends, just automatically, because we're from Asia. By the way, this is her, and she is not like a mentor, but she's like a friend mentor. And we will keep a cross check on each other. We will bounce back on ideas. We were both like upcoming speakers that time, learning from our mentors and becoming trainers and coaches. So yeah, Sidra had a amazing impact in my life. She helped me to clear up a lot of my energy, a lot of my healing, came from her, and I miss her. We lost her a few months back, and yeah. So these are the three people I can think about right now. Apart from the big peoples, like Tony, Joel Bauer, they made an impact in my life. But these are the people I have personally very grateful for the kind of exposure they gave me.
You always reflect that gratitude. You breathe in gratitude all the time. I've seen that always about you. And this is how, when we even move in our journey, when we don't forget those people who really helped us who created those small moments. Perhaps for them it had been really small moments, but you never forget them. This really shows how grateful we are, as a human. I really love that quality about
Thank
you.
you.
Please tell me, what advice would you give to your younger self if today Aman has to give? What advice you would give to your own younger self?
Well, if the 10 year, if I see at the 10 years old Amandeep, sitting in Calcutta, in his half pants, gifted to him by his neighbors because they are free, I would tell him, a young man, you have everything in your power, to be the person you want to be. You're enough for who you are. Just be madly, deeply in love for the person you are, and magic will unfold in your journey. I can see that for you. You have something very special inside you. That's all I will, tell the younger Amandeep.
Beautiful advice. All right, Aman, I'll have one liner. So I will be completing few, words which you have to complete whatever comes in your mind. So it is like so rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay. Be someone who.
Inspires.
Okay. Life is all about.
Connection. Family.
When I face a challenge, I first.
When I face the
Challenge, I first.
question,
Okay. I let go fear of failure by.
by focusing, on my strengths.
Okay. Your favorite quote is.
What comes to my mind right now is be the change you want to see, in the world.
All right. Three books you swear by.
Bhagavad Gita, The Breakthrough Experience by Dr. John D. Martini, and my own book, The Secret of Winning.
Okay. I was really expecting that book to come in. Seriously, I had that projection. Maybe I was willing that answer to come in.
Oh, yeah.
That is, I'm smiling a little harder. All right. Five words you define yourself as.
Energetic, kind, loving, thoughtful, crazy,
All right. I love people who are.
who are kind and generous.
Okay. And success begins at.
Home with you, with
Okay.
yourself.
Okay. What I would never give up in my life.
My slides.
Okay, that was very smart. Thank you so much, Aman. I had real great time interacting with you. And your story has so much deep meaning. In fact, today also you live a life full of gratitude. You're so giving, so generous, so kind that every time someone comes in that radiation, area of your presence, people feel that empowerment. People feel a lot of learning.
Well, see,
So
my life
thankful.
has been magical. I just can't help but talk about, another gentleman, Rajiv Nair. He's a chartered accountant. He used to live in Rajouri Garden. Now he lives in Gurgaon, Sona Road, Central Park 2. I did a program, with a trainer called Rajesh Agarwal, Rebirth, in 2003. And we were in one kind of batch. There's an exercise given where everybody has to visit each other's family and do very personal sharings. I remember, I almost lost my job doing the training program, and he knew that I'm in huge trouble. I used to live in Khidki that time, and I used to rent, a room there. And after that, one session we came out from Mr. Khera's house, in Defense Colony. I remember he literally took, a bunch of 50 notes. I think it was 100 notes, 5,000 rupees, and he just gave it to me without asking for it. And I was very reluctant to take it, but he just almost forced it, into me, saying, "You know what? I know what you're going through right now. You can return it whenever you want this." I mean, my life has many such incidents, where angels have shown up, from my brother paying for my fees, So I cannot be, grateful and do my best, to give back as much as I can. So yeah, I mean, I think, my life is just magical.
Thank you so much, Aman. And I really believe in fact, I've seen you in your training. You really mentioned that. I have my angel on this side, I have my angel on that side, and I haven't prepared. And whatever message you bring, this is exactly what I feel. There's a great connection. Universe wants you to be the ambassador of kindness. Universe wants you to add value in people's life. That whenever you are speaking, everybody who's sitting in that room has his own set of, fear and disbelief, which is breaking up. So we are so thankful for you being you. And I am sure Angel actually supports angels. So you're one of the earth angels, and we are so proud of you. Any
Thank you.
last message you want to give to inspiring lives, to us, to my students, please?
Uh, this is the way I like to always end my every session. Either I'm doing my own class or interviews, and this is a reminder not for only the listeners, for me and for you and everybody on this planet Earth, that whoever you see and perceive as a successful person, or you see them as a master, like Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, Gandhi, whoever the big names for you in whatever industry they have been in, Virat Kohli, or Messi, doesn't matter. They were not these successful people or masters to begin with. They always started somewhere, and obviously when they started, they were passionate about this, or they had purpose, or they wanted to stand for this cause because they strongly felt about it, and they knew that they won't be enough alone to go on this journey. So they took up they picked up a couple of mentors, maybe I don't know exactly how many, but maybe one or two or three. And they said, what, help me out, okay? I want to be that master, help me out, okay? And they went on a journey, okay? That journey could be anything between few thousand hours to 10,000 hours. They say, what, that's what it takes to become a master, and it can take average 10 years to become a master. So yeah, they went on a journey. They found a mentor or a couple of mentors. They did deep practice for a few thousand hours, which could be average 10,000. They went for a couple of years, and now we see them, this successful person or the masters they are. They had a lot of challenges, pressure, people not believing in them, a lot of close one people, and they got upset with them. But now they have arrived. So if you want to be that master which is within you, it'll take a few thousand hours, it'll take a few years, and it will require a couple of mentors to support you, provided you begin with passion or purpose. Because if you're not passionate or purpose about that thing, your rationals will give up. So my friend, the mastery is waiting for you. As Tony says, who do you have to become so that the fame comes to you, so that the love comes to you, so that beautiful house comes to you, beautiful wife comes to you, great handsome husband comes to you, you become a great father, whatever that is for you, it's waiting out there for you. You become that to deserve it, to earn it, as it, oh yeah, now I have done the work, and now you see me as the master.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, viewers from who have been continuously with us, who are going to watch this entire show. And I'm sure this will add up a lot of nugget of wisdom in your life to be master and emerge as brilliant as Aman is. Thank you so much, Aman, for sparing time. I understand you also have a session today with your own students. Yeah. So thank you so much. I want to give you a tea break if you so that you have another session to join in, and you can please continue joining in. Thank you for this entire episode. Thank you. This is going to remain, forever for a lot of students to come and seek inspiration from your story.
I'm glad, I was able to provide and share something today. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.